Guys, welcome back to Brian Bandas Builds a Business. I'm here in the Green Hills area of Nashville, Tennessee, and this video is gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun like it was watching the Cowboys destroy the Giants the other night in week 1, you know what I mean? This week I wanna walk through this build with you, and I wanna show you some of the design decisions that I'm trying to make, and I wanna get your 2 cents. If you're willing to take a second, hop down in the comments and say, hey, yeah, that's a great idea, put tile there, put carpet there, whatever. So we're gonna talk through some decisions I need to make, and I want your opinion. But first, if you're getting something out of this and you're inspired to build and develop, to build a business of your own, then do me a favor and hook me up with one of those, and one of those, and one of those. Let's do it. The challenge when you're making these kinds of decisions as a builder and as a developer is that you're trying to balance form, function, and value. And what I mean by that is there's a certain amount of landscaping that we've got to do to make sure that this house fits in with the neighborhood around it and fits the price point. Our target price point on this is $4.5 million. So landscaping's gotta look good. But then there's a certain amount of landscaping that may not be necessary. It might not get me any more for the home. And I can decide, well, I wanna do it anyway because there's an art to this and I think it's beautiful. Or I can decide, man, if I'm gonna get 4.5 either way, you know, maybe I'll save the $25,000, $50,000 in extra landscaping. I don't wanna do that. So that's always what I'm trying to consider is, what do I need to do to make sure that I am providing the value I need to provide to hit my price point versus what is excess and is not necessary? And that brings us to the first design decision. And that is, what kind of landscaping do we do here at the front? So I'm gonna have some nice steps going up here with some stone pavers, etc. But along the front here of this house, we've got to have something. So obviously we're going to do some bushes, some shrubbery. I'm sure we'll end up with some mulch, but I really could take 2 approaches. I could do a really clean, simple look, or I could do something that is far more elaborate. I've also got, you know, this space. So I've got my driveway that's going to circle into this here. And the driveway goes off down this way, right? And so along that driveway and here in the front yard, you know, I can do flower beds and garden beds. I could put trees. There's a lot that I could do. And I would love to hear your 2 cents. For a luxury home, what do you think looks really fantastic? What catches your eye when you drive past it? So next, as we walk into the entry here, I've got this nice long entryway, right? This is my front door. And all the way back here, that eventually goes to the master. And off to the sides of this entry, we've got living room, we've got dining room, and so on. So one of the things I'm considering is, do I do something unique with the flooring here? Do I maybe take this one long rectangle and do maybe a herringbone pattern or something like that just here in the entry, just to separate it? We've got these really cool arched openings going into each of the rooms. Here's my dining room. This goes back to the master suite. This opening goes into the living room, and so on. So that's one of the options. If it was you, what would you do to sort of separate and differentiate this sort of open entryway? Now here's a fun one, okay? This is the dining room. Now I know right now it's kind of hard to tell where one thing stops and the other ends, but here's our kitchen, okay? This wall, this cased opening, separates the kitchen from the dining room. We've got a big old dining room here. We've got some can lights. We'll have a, you know, probably a pretty spectacular chandelier. And the dining room is a space where I could really do some cool things. I have this wine cellar right here. Okay, right now it just looks like a big opening, but that's gonna be a big glass door. And I think I've got a design for this wine cellar, but that's another question. What do you guys think is really cool in a wine cellar? I could do, you know, very, very full, dense shelving floor to ceiling and just let them have 2,000 bottles of wine. Or I could do something that's a little more artsy and a little more sparse. I do know that the front of this, my intention is to have a big glass door so that people can see this wine cellar when they're in here. And then next, and one that I've really been debating, is this whole wall along here. So along the bottom, we're gonna have cabinets, and we have a little wet bar in the middle with a sink and sort of a beverage fridge. But beyond that, I have this whole wall that I could do something with. I could do a really unique wallpaper. I'm gonna have floating shelves, 3 of them, going from side to side. But from there, I could do almost anything design-wise with that wall. I could do some unique woodwork. I could do wallpaper. I could do tile. Obviously, I could paint it. I can decide whether or not I want to do some sort of unique trim work on the ceiling. So there's a lot of design opportunity in this dining room right now that hasn't been decided. I'd love to hear your ideas of what would make that dining room pop. So again, the whole point of this video is take a second, hop down in the comments and say, you know, do this kind of trim work, do X, Y, and Z tile here. You know, the floating shelves should look like this. I want to hear some ideas, and maybe I could implement a few of these as I build this house. All right, so now we're in the master, and I've got two decisions to make in here. Decision number one is that we have this really cool fireplace. Right now you can't see obviously what the fireplace will look like, but it's a little more of a modern feel. It's this sort of long, skinny type of thing. It's electric, and they'll be able to just turn it on with a switch. It's gonna be really nice. So question number one is, what am I doing with this chimney? Do I put a tile around it? Do I do some sort of, gosh, I don't know, some sort of like a shiplap type of thing? And then the next question is, this wall behind me, this is where the master, like the bed's gonna go. And I've been toying around with some ideas on this wall. One of the ideas is to take that stone that I have outside and actually do this wall with that stone. Could turn out really cool. Next to the master is this. It's a little study. I'm gonna have built-ins over here, like some cool built-in shelving, bookshelves and whatnot. A coffered ceiling. It's gonna be like a really nice sort of classic feeling, sort of sitting room, reading room, study type of deal. So if you have ideas for that, things that would really set this space apart, I do think I'm probably gonna paint this whole room a different color. The master bedroom, you know, is probably gonna be the standard wall paint color. We'll do some sort of nice creamy off-white for most of the house, and the master bedroom will be the same. But then in this study, I'm thinking we go all of the walls, all of the built-in bookshelves, even the ceiling with some sort of cool darker color to give it a really warm feel. Really, I could ask this question of all of the bathrooms. We're in the master bath. We're gonna have a nice big double vanity here. We're gonna have towers on either side of shelving. And then behind me, we have the shower. And as you can see over here, we've got one shower head. And over here, we've got number two. And this one's gonna also have a wand and a rain head. And it's gonna be a big old pane of glass right here. Pane in what? Pane of glass. So the question is, what kind of tile would you put in this kind of bathroom? Big, beautiful, spacious bathroom. We've got a lot of room. We've got a huge, basically a double shower. I think I need at least three different tiles. I've got one that's gonna go around the surround of the shower, one for the floor of the shower, and then one for the floor of the bathroom. Might do more than that. Do I want to put a tile backsplash behind the mirrors with the vanities? There's so many options. So what do you think would make this bathroom pop? What kind of fixtures? What do the mirrors look like? What kind of tile is really going to make it look special? And that is a perfect example of assessing value, because I can go out and I can find this unbelievable tile, and it's, you know, $120 a foot, and it is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And at that point I go, man, could I potentially make this bathroom attractive with tile that's $25 a foot? Probably so. And that's where I have to decide, not just every individual tile. The question is the perception of the entire package. So I'm gonna have some tiles that are probably, you know, $5–10 a square foot, and then I'm gonna have some really gorgeous special tiles in certain places that really make the place stand out that you wouldn't find in other houses. And that's the sort of game that you're always playing, is where do I put my money in this project to get it back out? You know, if I put all this money on the floor tile in the toilet closet in the master, like, that's probably not the spot, right? And so I'm always playing the game of what is going to really affect the perception of the buyer, because that's where the value is going to be affected. There's a lot of things I can do that cost money, that the buyer will never perceive and therefore will probably not pay for. On to the patio. So here we are on the back patio. This place is gonna be awesome. This place makes me wish this was my house. As it stands, this is almost 2.5 times the size of my house. We've got this big, awesome outdoor fireplace. Again, it's gas powered and they're gonna be able to turn it on with a switch. They wanna come outside and spend time outside. Just walk over, boom, fire. It's like magic. Can you imagine a person in like the year 900 and it's that easy to start a fire? You just go bink, boom, fire. Their brain would freaking explode. So I've actually already decided on this one, as you can see over here, and you've seen the exterior of the home. We've got the stone started, and the same stone that's on the front of the house is gonna be covering this fireplace chase. And then over here, I've got a big outdoor kitchen that's gonna go right along here. But one of the questions I haven't answered is, what is the rest of my outdoor space gonna consist of? More specifically, as they walk down the steps from this porch, I want some sort of stone patio here. And this will be the area that's uncovered, but I'm gonna do some sort of stone patio with a nice big stone fire pit. And I'm curious, if it was you, what would you do? I could do like a stone bench, perimeter around this whole patio. I could do a fire pit or no fire pit. I could do, if I really wanted to go to the effort, I could still do run a gas line and do a gas fire pit down there. If I really wanted to get extreme, and I've heard differing opinions at this price point, I could clear a bunch of this and really go all out and do a pool, etc. Although I think in order for that to have the value, it can't just be a pool. It's got to be a whole outdoor experience, and that's probably, call it $150,000 decision if I go ahead and add that, because we're going to do a pool, we're going to do stone scaping around it, and probably a fountain in it, and all kinds of stuff. So if you're me, what are you doing in that outdoor space beyond the covered patio that's going to make it really pop? Now here's a little one, but it's one that makes a difference, because if I own a $4.5 million house, I'm probably gonna have people over and I want them to come enjoy it, and I want them to kind of ooh and ah over it. So we're in this little powder room, and I'm giving you this angle so you can see the footprint. It's not a big room, but this is, when they have guests over, this is where they're gonna come and do their little business. So the way I've set this up is, this is gonna be a floating vanity, and the sink will sit on top of the vanity, and then we'll have these this cool fixture, sort of vintage style fixture, coming out of the wall, pouring down into that. But I haven't selected a vanity yet. I haven't selected paint colors, or I'm really considering doing like a cool wallpaper in there and just really making that room, even though it's small, you can walk in and that one room can really have a vibe. You can catch a vibe in there, as the kids say. I'm gonna go in the powder room and just catch a quick vibe. Is that the same as like catching Pokemon? So when I'll confess that I like to use Pinterest, and I go on Pinterest and I'll search like, cool powder room design, stuff like that. And there are probably a million things that I could do in that room. If it was you, what would you do? And maybe the questions to answer are, what color is the vanity? Is it a natural wood? Is it painted? Is it retro? Is it, an antique? Is it really sleek and modern? What are you doing to the walls, and what are you doing to the hardware and the fixtures? The faucet, the mirror, the lighting. What color is that? Is it all chrome? Is it all gold? What are you doing with that? By the way, guys, while we walk upstairs to check out a couple more areas where I got to make some design decisions, if you're getting something out of this, throw a little thumbs up on there and help me find more people who want to develop. Also, if you're wanting to develop, I don't mention this on every video, but I have a very, very thorough course called Deal Architect that, if you're dipping your toe in the water and you think maybe development's cool, this is probably not for you. But if you're serious about learning how to do this, then this is definitely for you. And I don't think that there's a better resource out there. So go to dealarchitect.org to check that out. So now we're walking into the media room. That's right, this is basically the home theater. If you see behind me, we've got this platform, and the way it's laid out is they should be able to put 5 or 6 recliners up here and another 4 or 5 down here in front of this platform. And what we'll do is give them little plugs along this so everybody in their recliner can plug in their phone or whatever. We've got power up here. Where is it? Right there. And so they'll be able to do sort of a projector and a drop-down screen here if they want. Now, my feeling is this really needs to feel like a movie theater. So we're gonna have sconces along the walls, and probably for the most part, it'll be a combination of flooring and carpet. And I'd love to hear your 2 cents. What kind of flooring would you put in here? What kind of carpet? What kind of colors would you do to make this room feel cozy? How would you treat the home movie theater to where when you walk in here, man, it just feels so cozy and I want to settle into my little recliner chair and watch a movie? What would you do? Drop a comment. And let's go to our last spot. This is the home office. It's got a really nice big old window. It's got a lot of light. It's a pretty good size. And as you guys have seen in several of my videos, I'm sitting in my home office and I have this sort of gray paneling and the built-in bookshelf behind me. I love that feel of all the trim work and the paneling and the built-ins. It's so classic. And I'll tell you what I'm considering in here, and then I'd love to hear what you would do. What I'm thinking about doing is going real legit old school, with actual dark stained wood paneling, the whole thing, all the walls, all of that. Some really cool sort of built-in lighting in the walls. Considering even doing, you know, maybe some trimmed out framing with sconces to where they can hang a picture with a lighting sconce coming out of the wall over it, that type of thing. Definitely gonna do on this wall here, because what I envision is that most likely this person walks in and their desk is here, they sit down, the window's behind them, they're facing the door, and on this wall across from them, we do have a television, and then I'm thinking about doing, you know, basically built-in bookshelves on either side, down low, and basically doing built-ins along that whole wall. I also think that I'll probably do a coffered ceiling in here to just give it that really classic look. Right now, in my mind's eye, this is all like a really beautiful, almost like a mahogany, like a classic office, like frickin' Winston Churchill would be sitting in. And so again, same question, drop me a comment. If you got to design this office, what would you put in it? All right, guys, well, that's it for me. I'm just gonna settle in, have a nice little bath. Don't mind the jeans. Thanks for tuning in. Definitely appreciate your input. As always, if you're getting something out of this channel and you're inspired to build, inspired to develop, inspired to build your business, then hook me up with one of those, and one of those, and one of those. And I'll see you next time.